Hello, it's the third Friday of the month, and that means we have another sketch challenge for you. So, last month, several of my crafty friends and I started working our way through these scrapbooking templates. We did this one, and I turned it into a double page. So, now we are working on this sketch, and everybody's going to use the same sketch, but you're going to see so many different variations based on this sketch. Now, I only have one photo, so we are definitely making this a single page and I'm going to flip it. So I've got a portrait style photo here. So you can see we've got our portrait style photo now, this fun little banner here, and then could be two smaller photos or embellishments. Really, you could interpret that as many different things. And then if we flip it, this is the journaling in the title, which would now be underneath. So let's see what we can come up with. This is a special paper pack that was gifted to us when we went to the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, which was Orlando, and we went to Disney World. We stayed at the Grand Floridian, which has like a Mary Poppins theme, and it's so cool. It's like this subtle Mary Poppins theme. So that is what this paper collection is based off of. And they made this really cute paper chain background, and they had all these props. What's Mary Poppins without an umbrella, right? And then some just different things you could pose with. And I'm so sad that I didn't take the time to pose with my friends. We got here very, very early in the morning because we were on the move. We were interested in going to the parks. So I went through this area, grabbed a quick photo with my husband, and off we went. And now I regret it, right? But they even gave us our name tags for the event. And you can see how everything ties into that same theme. This one here looks just like this pattern paper. And since I only have one photo, I was thinking this might be a really quick layout if we use this piece. And I absolutely love this framing detail. And I'm also thinking about using this for my title. Now I might expand on that. We might add Disney World. So Orlando Stampin' Up! Disney World. And again, this is going to be the title page for that particular trip. So I think that that's really all I need. We might be able to fussy cut some of these guys. So Mary Poppins, there's the umbrella. And then, of course, tea, drinking lots of tea, her cute little boots. And then remember the penguins that they danced with, of course, and the carousel, her hat and kite. And it just, really, really neat. And I loved staying at the Grand Floridian because it was just really a beautiful resort. So let's grab my Versamat here and we'll kind of start off with this paper. I think that is so fun that they gave us a special paper pack just to document the event. And I didn't take a whole lot of pictures around the actual resort, but I do have some. So let's see here. I know that I want to mat this on some paper and we don't want too busy of a pattern. Now, if you look at the sketch here, let me grab this sketch. I like that. See how that brings in all of those fun little icons, but it's a subtle pattern paper. So this is pretty busy around the outside. So we want to kind of tone it down. And then we had that strip element here on the sketch. So we need something for that. The opposite side are these, already you have these strips that are the penguins. So that might work. And you know what? Let's go for it. My photo is just shy of 4x6. It is 4x5 1/4. So I cut that so we have an extra, wide photo mat going around, but it's really double matted. I've got the white border and then this one here. Now, since I just cut this strip off here, I had more pattern paper. So I cut those down thinking that I could utilize these for a strip rather than cut another section from that paper pack. So we'll see if I can kind of camouflage part of this behind my embellishments. Actually, you want that like that. So it doesn't matter that the penguins don't line up because again, I think I'm going to camouflage that with this here. So, and I have an idea too. Let me see if I have a die that I love to cut out pocket cards with. So let me grab that. These are the stitched fancy brackets. They were from Close to My Heart. That one's way too small. Will this fit? You know what? I think that's going to fit perfectly. I am going to do it. I'm going to cut this out and then run that through my die cutting machine. So it's a great way to dress up your pocket cards. It would look cute just like this, but I think if we could give it a little flourish with all the stitching and decorative edging, it will look even better. Isn't that cute? I love it. So that's our title, Orlando Stampin' Up. But like I said, I think I want to put Disney World underneath. So let's look at the sketch again really quick. Let me get that back in the frame just a little bit better there for you. So if you look at the sketch, again, I have flipped it this way so you can kind of see there's that representing this, and then we have a strip. So technically this could be our bottom square here, and then we have another item here, which, like I said, could be a photo. I don't have another photo, so let's make that an embellishment. And I do have, like I said earlier, on this cut apart sheet, I've got these little guys, and I think it might be cute to cut the penguin out. In our room, the chandelier had these tiny little penguins all around the top of it, little glass penguins. And then there was artwork on the wall that was just a beautiful landscape. But if you looked closely, you could see the silhouette of Mary Poppins coming down on her umbrella. And you know what? I think I have the perfect thing. Let me grab it. I have this stamp and die cut from Close to My Heart in my stash. It's called Rain or Shine, and it has this umbrella. So I know I'm holding an umbrella, but I think that, like I said, it's just so Mary Poppins, right? And this is big, so I think that might be really cool on this layout. I am going to stamp that, let's see, maybe on this pink color. I think that's a flamingo, flirty flamingo. So yeah, I don't want to do it in the blues or greens here, or blue green colors. Lagoon. That's lagoon and pretty peacock. So I'm going to go for this one. So this color is Flirty Flamingo there, and I have my stamp positioner here. Let me scoot this out of the way here, and we can stamp this umbrella. So I've got the Flirty Flamingo markers too, but I thought, you know what, this is going to be easier, and I am getting ready to leave for vacation, so I will be 100% honest. I am trying to get this layout done quickly. So this is one of those scrapbooking sessions where I'm not going to overthink, and I'm just going to go for it. And you know what? This is one of those, sometimes the umbrella gets a little wonky. So I want to make sure that it's going to line up with the coordinating die so that the top part's fine, but sometimes this part gets a little wonky, and I want to make sure that is straight. Yeah, that looks good. So we can pick that up with the door of our Misty, and I'm just going to stamp that in black ink, and we'll have the outline there. I absolutely love Mary Poppins, one of my favorite childhood movies, and my mom loved musicals, so we watched musicals all the time, and that was one that I never got tired of. It was so much fun. Just such a magical show, right? Let's stamp this down, and I'll probably need to, well, it looks pretty good. Let's do that one more time here so we're nice and crisp. I am using my Memento black ink because I might want to add a little shading with my coordinating markers. I'm not sure yet. So this way we can use our markers if we decide to. So let me go ahead and cut this out. I'll be right back. Here we go, and let's see how it looks. That is cute. I really like it. So like I said, I was a little concerned, like, is that going to be weird with the umbrella and the umbrella? But like I said, it's just so Mary Poppins, and it fills that space nicely. So I'm thinking about fussy cutting some of these guys, maybe the hat, and we definitely don't need the umbrella. We got plenty of those. So I'm going to start with the penguin and the hat and go with those. I fussy cut those off camera, and I'm thinking the little penguin right here. Could we put the hat on him? No, it's too big. What if we popped it up on the center? Let's wait on that. So I know I want to address the title under here, and I have a good 6 inches, so I turned to my Cricut and I created a title that says Disney World with an offset. The offset is in the pretty peacock color, and Disney World is in white. I still want to use this hat. What if we put it right there? That's cute. I like it hanging over the D there. So I am going to ink up the edges. I've got gray granite ink, and then we'll get everything adhered down. Now that font, Disney World, is from defont.com. I'm trimming this off just to save that little piece where it is intersecting and hidden. You never know, that might be just the piece I'm going to need on a card or something. But anyway, I did download that from defont.com. And if you search in that on that website under Disney, you will find all sorts of free fonts that are very Disney inspired, which is really nice because on Cricut, the Disney themed fonts can be quite expensive. So this is a nice alternative. This is random, but I think whenever we talk about the incentive trip, we're supposed to mention that less than 1% earn it. So results are not typical, and feels like an infomercial. Less than 1% earn it, and results are not typical. Side effects may include joy and extreme happiness when experiencing the incentive trip. Anyway, I don't think that was the exact verbiage, but I think that might cover it. So let's go ahead and bring our bits and pieces back in. Now on the sketch, I'm going to go ahead and adhere these down. On the sketch, this little element was dovetailed, and I'm usually all about the dovetail, but I think I want to leave it squared off at the top and bottom. I'm bringing in my T-square ruler to make sure those pieces are straight. And the reason why I opted not to dovetail it is because it would chop into that little penguin, and I think it might look kind of funny. So we are just keeping it flush. Now those are not the same widths, but I'm lining up on the outside edge, and then the inside edge will be covered, so you'll never notice one is thicker than the other. We brought back in all of our little elements here. Let's bring our penguin. He's so cute, and yeah, I'm liking it. I am going to commit and move right along. Woohoo! This is coming together so fast. It feels amazing. Do you ever do that where you challenge yourself to see how fast you can get a layout done? Usually I'm pretty quick at it regardless, but sometimes I'll stare at a layout for what seems like forever, and then it makes it take a long time. And like I said on this one, I'm just kind of going for it, and I think it's turning out super cute. I did add some foam tape to the back of this, so we'll pop that up just right about there. And then let's bring our title back in, Disney World. So now it's Orlando Stampin' Up! Disney World. We've got our little Mary Poppins hat, and here comes Dave to say hello. Oh, hi Dave. He picked a great spot to give himself a little cat bath. I want to bring a little bit of this Lost Lagoon color over to the right-hand side. So I used my little file tab punch, and what if we put this up top? You know, I don't like it actually. It just feels kind of stuck there. What if we put it on the side? That might be a little bit better. Let's go ahead and stamp on it to see if we can make that look a little bit more finished. I have loved this moment, and I'm using this stamp set that says happy with you. I thought that was appropriate to use with my husband. I've got black ink, and then we'll just ink this up. Let me practice first, make sure it's stamping nice and crisp. That looks good. So we'll line it up on our tab there, and ooh, that's slightly crooked. Let's turn it around and use the other side and give that a second go. Yep, much better. So let me close this up, and then we can slide this back in. And these are always a fun, easy little detail, but I do want to add something else to that tab. Now I grabbed my embellishment binder and thumbed through it and found these little shapes here that match. It has just a soft blue color with polka dots, and this little tab and heart also kind of coordinate. So let's just kind of try these pieces out and see if we can make them work. I don't like the heart, so we've got this little banner tail here, and that's kind of boring. Let's try the circle to see how the circle looks. I really should have adhered this layout to my Versamat because it is moving all over the place. I really like the circle. We're going to go with that little piece, and then I do want to ink up the edges with the gray, and let's cut this in half because, you know, really we can't see the half that's hidden behind it, so you never know when that's going to come in perfect for another layout. Let's go ahead and adhere this down. And then I dug even further through my stash, and I found these little acrylic shapes. I'll grab those here in just a moment. Let me get this adhered down. They are from a very old collection called Aurora from close to my heart. It was actually a camping collection. There's geotags and pine trees and arrows. There's a little camera. There's hearts too. You know what? I like the hearts, and they're just the right color. They're like they're see-through, which makes them kind of translucent looking, but they have that same tone as the pretty peacock in my Orlando title. So that worked out perfectly. I'm adding them with a micro glue dot. We'll put 2 up there, and that finishes off that little tag cluster quite nicely, and I like how it brings that color to the other side. So let's go ahead and take a look at our sketch one more time. When you look at the sketch, I do think it's very simple, but by choosing a background paper with so much interest around the border, I think this turned out fabulous, and I'm really happy with it. It's going to be a great title page for my album to document this trip. As I mentioned earlier, I have several crafty friends playing along, and I'm willing to bet you're going to see some amazing ideas when you head on over to their channels to see how they have interpreted this same sketch. You can find their videos in this playlist right here.